Hey, Happy Friday. This week, YouTube rolls out hypes, Android bans proper sideloading, and Framework rolls out a laptop that has a replaceable GPU. Welcome to the Friday Checkout. This video is sponsored by Red Magic. Okay, for my first story of the week, YouTube has rolled out its new hype feature to 39 different countries, which is a new way to let people boost especially smaller channels. You can see the exact list of countries on screen right now, and this includes the US, India, a bunch of European countries, and more. In these countries, you can open the Explore menu and then select Hype, which should take you to a country-specific leaderboard of stuff that people around you find particularly worth hyping. And YouTube even claims that they value hypes more when the channel itself is smaller, so as to account for audience size and give really small channels a chance. Theoretically, any creator's video can be hyped who has up to 500,000 subscribers, and the option should appear below their video, maybe after you like it. That said, I tried to find the option on both my phone and my PC, and I can't see the option yet despite being in a supposedly supported country. If you're watching this on YouTube and not on Nebula, then you should theoretically be able to try hyping this video because it is less than 7 days old and my channel has less than 500,000 subscribers, so according to YouTube, it is very small and it needs all the help that it can get. Now, sadly, the list of hyped videos on my phone looks completely irrelevant to me, more or less, so I feel like this still needs some personalization, but I guess more help for smaller channels is a good thing. I find the idea itself pretty good, like giving people the option to specifically boost a new and smaller creator and also giving people only 3 options to hype in a month. I think that all makes sense, but then I also think this will be abused pretty heavily, so let's see where this gets us. Okay, for my second story of the week, we learned that Google will block sideloading of unverified Android apps starting next year. In their blog post, they claim that they're fighting, quote, convincing fake apps, which pretend to be from some legitimate business, and they say that they found over 50 times more malware from internet sideloaded sources than on apps available through the Play Store. And for this reason, developer verification now becomes mandatory on Android apps even when they're downloaded from outside the Play Store. This means that an Android device with Google services pre-installed should essentially refuse to install apps from outside the Play Store unless the developer there has specifically verified itself with Google. This is very similar to how Apple allowed alternative app stores in the EU while also still requiring developers publishing over those to register with Apple. And just this week, we've also seen Apple using those powers by pulling the iPhone torrent app iTorrent from the alternative app store AltStore PAL in Europe. I totally get that people, and especially non-technical people, are able to download absolute crap from the internet and install malware on their phone, and therefore there should be like loads of pop-ups and warnings and whatever whenever they do something like that, but completely giving over all control to Google, that doesn't quite sound right. Okay, and for my third story of the week, Framework announced a massive upgrade to the Laptop 16. This is their modular and upgradable big boy laptop, and you can now upgrade it with an Nvidia 5070 module that slots right into your existing machine. How cool is that? They built a special mechanism for this to work, and while other solutions technically existed for replaceable GPUs and laptops, none of them ever really caught on. You can also still swap back to their previous AMD GPU, or go completely without a dedicated GPU and select a much slimmer module to get a thinner and lighter design. Better yet, there's also a 240-watt GAN charger that is both super compact and uses USB-C, and that makes me very happy. No need for some custom barrel plug. And finally, there are also many little upgrades like a better webcam and better thermal design, plus they've also released files for 3D printing your own palm rests now as well. The new laptop is shipping in November, and I configured one just to see how much it would cost, and the most basic version I got with an Nvidia card cost me almost 3,000 euros here over in Germany, so it's not exactly cheap, but still pretty cool. Just like with Fairphone, I really hope that this company can grow bigger and then use that to bring their prices down to reach a wider audience, because this idea is really cool. Moving on to our release monitor, we start with the Honor Magic V5, which launched outside of China, and my studio mate Kilian tells me that this is now his favorite folding phone, perhaps even over the Samsung Galaxy Fold 7, although it is also unbelievably more expensive. I actually just switched to the Fold 7 myself, and I thought to myself both that this is a fantastic phone and also extremely ridiculously expensive, so that's impressive on both counts. Meanwhile, also new this week was the Plod AI Pro, which is a new voice recording device that attaches to your phone. I still don't understand why you wouldn't just use, your phone, which does the same thing already for free, but okay. Next, this week we also got the DJI Mic 3, which is an updated wireless system with smaller microphones and support for 4 different transmitters for a single receiver, plus also the ability to pair up 8 different receivers with timecodes to each other. Pretty cool. And talking of DJI, last in our release monitor is the Hasselblad X2D Mark II. It combines the usual ultra high-end Swedish camera nerd features from the usual Hasselblad cameras with the new tech that the brand could access since it was bought by DJI. So that means things like a LiDAR assisted autofocus system, system, a really great screen, and more. Oh, and also the price went down, so the body itself now only costs $7,400. That's a bargain, though sadly they don't have an affiliate system that I was able to join. Anyway, links to all the newly announced products are in the description, and now let's move on to the brief, which starts with Dreamy, the Chinese maker of robot vacuums among other things, claiming that they'll make an electric vehicle that will challenge Bugatti among others. Okay. Remember when Dyson said that they would build an EV and then they never did? Well, maybe Dreamy will do what Dyson couldn't. We'll see. Next, we continue with Samsung sending out invites for its upcoming Unpacked event on the 4th of September. They'll be at IFA right here in Berlin, and I actually expect to be there in person, so expect some coverage. And then in good news this week, SpaceX successfully ran a test of its gigantic Starship rocket after a string of failures. Their 10th attempt hit multiple milestones, including the upper stage reaching space and releasing its 8 Starlink satellites, while the engines and backup engines were also successfully tested. Very cool. And then still with Elon, his company xAI actually sued Apple and OpenAI this week, alleging anti-competitive collusion as Apple supposedly favors ChatGPT over competitors in their systems. Okay. I wonder if OpenAI could sue Tesla in return for installing Grok on their cars instead of ChatGPT, for example, not even giving you the option. Maybe that would be something. And then in more AI news, Microsoft has also revealed their first in-house AI models, which they call the MAI Voice 1 and MAI 1 Preview, presumably to reduce their dependence on OpenAI. Anyway, next, President Trump posted that he will, quote, put all countries with digital taxes, legislations, rules, or regulations on a notice that unless these discriminatory actions are removed, I, as President of the United States, will impose substantial additional tariffs on that country's exports to the USA and institute export restrictions on our highly protected technology and chips. He's referring to things like the Digital Services Act in the EU, which he thinks is illegal because other countries shouldn't be allowed to decide how technology gets used within their own countries. Only the United States can do that, both for themselves and for other countries abroad. Anyway, in more wild news, the FBI now claims that China's Salt Typhoon hacking group hacked at least 200 US companies. These include AT&T, Verizon, Lumen, and many other American firms who carry data. So that's cool, that's just like the internet itself, you know. Okay. And then continuing with the less than uplifting news, Microsoft's headquarters went into lockdown after activists, including Microsoft employees, took over President Brett Smith's office. This was one of the many protests demanding that the company stop supplying Azure services to Israel and follows recent reports from The Guardian and others claiming that Israel is relying on Microsoft Cloud for expansive surveillance of Palestinians. Alright, then on to less catastrophic news. Spotify this week built messaging into its apps. I guess it's good if you want to share music or podcasts with someone, though it only launches in Latin and South America and only on mobile versions of the app for now. YouTube has already tried to direct messages in their app and dropped them, but I guess Instagram tried them and kept it, so let's see which way Spotify goes. Next, a feature update that might actually be good is that Google Translate now officially added the language learning that we previously saw Android Authority leak. So if you don't want to use Duolingo on your phone, you can try this service instead. And then in even more cool tools, Bounce has launched as a new service that can move your accounts between Blue Sky and Mastodon, including much of your following. It's built by the good folks over at A New Social, who've also built BridgieFed, so that's pretty cool. And then also this week, I received a package that told me to, quote, win more games, and if I don't, I can certainly not blame that on the tablet that I'm playing this on, because this is the Red Magic Astra gaming tablet that has just about every gaming bell and whistle I've ever seen in a mobile device. Starting with the specs, it has everything: a flagship Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, the fastest memory with LPDDR5T plus UFS 4.1 Pro. What they claim is the industry's first dual-layer vapor chamber, plus liquid metal 2.0 cooling, and even a little fan. And to top all of that off, also Red Magic's very own chip called the Red Core R3, which further enhances things like touch input to reduce latency. All of this means that games run, of course, as smoothly as they possibly could on current hardware, but I actually find the rest of the tablet even more impressive. Especially for a gaming device, it is so compact and lightweight, and yet they also packed a massive 8200 mAh battery and even a bright ultra high-res 9-inch OLED screen with a 165Hz refresh rate onto it. It somehow still fits great in the hand while packing all of those specs that are usually reserved for much more unwieldy devices. Meanwhile, the tablet of course also has many gaming features that start with this little switch, which launches a kind of console-like gaming space. This cuts out on all the distractions, and then when you're in game you can also bring up this UI where you can see how much your processor is being used and also customize everything in game. Settings include forcing some games to play at higher frame rates than they would normally allow, enabling bypass charging so you can keep your tablet plugged in while gaming without hurting its battery, and so on. Nice. And also, if you do something other than gaming, the general Android UI is actually quite nicely done. I also think the smooth aluminum cover combined with this compact build feels really nice in hand, and I also really appreciate that there is no camera bump at all, so that the tablet just lies completely flat. Overall, this is a great little device, and if you use my link in the description, the tablet even starts at under $500 or under 500 euros. So check it out using my link below, and while you're there, Red Magic also has a back-to-school campaign that you might enjoy.